What if the very supplements you trust every single day to protect your bones, heart, and immunity are silently working against your body instead of helping it? Vitamin D3, vitamin K2, and magnesium. This powerful trio is everywhere. Doctors recommend it. Fitness experts swear by it. Social media calls it the ultimate health stack. And millions of people take these three daily, sometimes for years, without ever questioning what long-term use actually does inside the body. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Supplements are not magic pills. They are biological signals. And when signals are repeated daily, month after month, year after year, they reshape how your body behaves. Sometimes in powerful healing ways, and sometimes in ways that quietly disturb balance. D3 pushes calcium into your bloodstream. K2 decides where that calcium goes. Magnesium controls how smoothly all of this chemistry works. Together, they can build strong bones, protect your heart, sharpen your mind, and boost immunity. But when doses are wrong, timing is off, or your body's real needs are ignored, this same trio can create hidden stress on your kidneys, imbalance minerals, strain your heart rhythm, and even block your body's own natural regulation systems. That's why today's video is not about fear. It's about clarity. It's about understanding whether long-term use of D3, K2, and magnesium is a smart health investment, or a silent risk you never saw coming. By the end of this video, you'll know who truly needs this stack, who should pause, how to use it safely, and how to turn it into a long-term health booster instead of a long-term mistake. So if you care about your bones, heart, nerves, and future health, stay with me till the end. And don't forget to support Care and Cure Corner by liking, sharing, and subscribing for science-backed natural health wisdom. Most people think of vitamin D3, K2, and magnesium as three separate supplements, but inside your body they behave like one tightly connected system. D3 is the spark. It tells your intestines to absorb more calcium from food and pushes that calcium into your bloodstream. Without D3, even the best diet cannot fully strengthen bones. But here's where the story becomes deeper. Calcium in the blood is powerful, and power without direction can become dangerous. That is where K2 steps in. Vitamin K2 acts like a traffic controller, guiding calcium away from soft tissues like arteries and kidneys, and directing it into bones and teeth where it belongs. Without K2, the calcium boosted by D3 may end up settling in the wrong places, silently increasing the risk of arterial stiffness, kidney stones, and long-term cardiovascular stress. Now enters magnesium, the quiet regulator that keeps this entire system from becoming chaotic. Magnesium activates vitamin D, helps convert it into its usable form, and balances calcium movement at the cellular level. It relaxes blood vessels, stabilizes heart rhythm, supports nerves, and prevents calcium from becoming overly aggressive inside the body. In simple words, if D3 loads the gun and K2 aims it, magnesium decides whether the trigger is pulled smoothly or dangerously. Without enough magnesium, D3 can become inefficient, and calcium metabolism can shift toward imbalance instead of strength. This is why taking D3 alone for long periods can be risky. It increases calcium absorption but doesn't control where that calcium goes or how the body handles it. K2 without enough D3 may not have enough calcium to direct. Magnesium without both becomes like a supervisor with nothing to supervise. The real magic happens when all three exist in balance, each supporting the other's function. This trio is not about quantity, it is about harmony. However, what most people don't realize is that balance can shift slowly. The same combination that builds strength today can create pressure tomorrow if doses are mismatched or if the body already has enough of one mineral. The body is not a storage room for supplements. It is a living system that adapts. When you keep sending the same signals daily, your internal chemistry starts adjusting in ways you may not immediately feel. At first, everything looks perfect. Energy improves, bones feel stronger, immunity seems sharper. But deep inside, calcium levels, magnesium reserves, and vitamin activity are constantly being recalibrated. If even one piece of this trio goes slightly out of sync, the benefits can quietly turn into stress, and that raises an important question that cannot be ignored. If this combination is so powerful, what happens when the balance tips just a little too far in the wrong direction? Because that is exactly where the real conversation about long-term use truly begins. When this trio is used correctly and in harmony with your body's real needs, the benefits can feel almost transformative over time. Bones become denser and more resilient because calcium is not only absorbed better, but placed exactly where it is supposed to go. Joints feel more supported, posture improves, and the slow weakening of the skeletal system that comes with age begins to reverse its course. This is not a short-term boost, but a long-term strengthening of the foundation of your body. Many people notice fewer aches, better mobility, and a new confidence in their physical stability, especially as years pass. The heart is another major winner when balance is maintained. With proper K2 activity, calcium stays out of the arteries, keeping them flexible and youthful instead of stiff and narrowed. Magnesium relaxes the blood vessels and supports steady heart rhythms, while D3 helps regulate blood pressure and inflammation. Together, they quietly protect one of the most sensitive systems in your body. Over time, this means smoother circulation, better oxygen delivery, and a reduced risk of silent cardiovascular damage that often develops unnoticed. Your immune system also responds powerfully. D3 strengthens immune signaling, helping your body identify and respond to threats more effectively without becoming overly inflammatory. Magnesium supports cellular energy and stress control, allowing immune cells to work without exhaustion. K2 indirectly protects immunity by preserving healthy blood flow and tissue integrity. The result is not just fewer infections, but faster recovery and stronger resilience under physical or emotional stress. Mental clarity and nerve stability begin to improve as well. Magnesium calms the nervous system and supports neurotransmitter balance. D3 influences mood regulation and cognitive function. Over long periods, many people report better focus, deeper sleep, and a more stable emotional state. The brain and nerves function more smoothly when minerals are balanced and inflammation is controlled, even metabolic health benefits. This trio helps regulate insulin sensitivity, muscle function, and energy production. Muscles contract and relax more efficiently, reducing cramps and weakness. Fatigue becomes less frequent. Daily energy feels more consistent rather than spiking and crashing. But here is the delicate line. These benefits rely on accuracy, not excess. The same system that strengthens bones and protects arteries depends on tight mineral balance. Too much stimulation, too much calcium movement, or too much dependency on supplements can slowly shift the body from harmony into pressure. The results may not show immediately, and that's what makes it dangerous. The improvements you feel today could quietly hide a growing imbalance underneath. And once the body begins to struggle with overload rather than support, the question changes from how much benefit am I getting to how much stress am I unknowingly creating. This is where the story takes a subtle but serious turn, because what heals in the right dose can quietly harm in the wrong balance. Long-term use without awareness can shift the body from support into strain. Vitamin D3 continuously pushes calcium absorption higher, and if calcium intake is already sufficient from food, the blood can begin carrying more than the body truly needs. At first, you feel nothing. No pain, no warning, no obvious symptom. But excess calcium in circulation increases the workload on the kidneys, which must filter and excrete what the body cannot use. Over time, this pressure can contribute to kidney stones, tissue calcification, and reduced kidney efficiency, all developing silently while you believe you are strengthening your health. Even with K2 in the picture, the system is not invincible. K2 guides calcium, but it cannot correct overload forever. When calcium input remains high for months or years, even the best traffic controller becomes overwhelmed. Arteries, joints, and soft tissues can begin to store small amounts that gradually stiffen and lose flexibility. This does not show as sudden disease, but as slow aging of the cardiovascular system that many mistake for normal decline. Magnesium adds another layer of complexity. The body uses magnesium to regulate calcium movement, nerve signals, and heart rhythm. When D3 is taken long-term, magnesium demand rises because it is required to activate and control vitamin D. If magnesium intake does not keep up, deficiency can appear even when you are supplementing lightly. This paradox leaves people thinking they are protected while their nervous system becomes more sensitive, their muscles more prone to cramps, and their heart rhythm more vulnerable to irregularities. There is also the issue of dependency. The body is adaptive by nature. When external nutrients arrive daily in high doses, internal production and regulation mechanisms can slowly downshift. Your system begins to rely on supplementation instead of natural balance through sunlight, food, and hormonal control. This is not addiction in the emotional sense, but physiological adjustment that reduces resilience. And the most dangerous part is not the damage itself, but the silence. These shifts rarely cause early pain. They develop under the surface, disguised by the short-term benefits that made you trust the routine in the first place. The body whispers before it screams, but most people miss those whispers. Subtle fatigue, slight palpitations, unexplained thirst, mild digestive discomfort, or unusual stiffness can be early signals that the balance is shifting, because once these signs begin to appear, the question is no longer about whether supplements work, but whether your body is trying to warn you that something is no longer working in your favor. And knowing how to recognize those signals may be the difference between prevention and regret. The body is always communicating, but it speaks in sensations most people ignore. When this balance begins to slip, the first signals are rarely dramatic. They feel ordinary, almost unimportant. A strange heaviness in the chest that comes and goes, mild headaches that appear without reason, a new kind of fatigue that sleep doesn't fully fix. These are not alarms yet, they are reminders. Magnesium imbalance can show itself as muscle twitching, cramps in the legs at night, tingling in the fingers, or an anxious, restless feeling that wasn't there before. The nervous system becomes more sensitive, and small stresses suddenly feel bigger than they used to. Digestive changes can also whisper the truth. Constipation, bloating, or nausea may begin subtly when calcium levels rise too much or magnesium balance shifts. Some people notice increased thirst or more frequent urination, a quiet sign that the kidneys are working harder than before. Heart rhythm can feel slightly off, not strong palpitations, just an occasional flutter or skipped beat that quickly disappears. It's easy to dismiss these moments, but they are often the earliest clues that minerals are no longer flowing in perfect harmony. Joint stiffness is another overlooked message. Instead of feeling lighter and stronger, the body may start to feel tighter, especially in the morning. Calcium that should stay in bones can slowly settle into soft tissues when regulation weakens. Skin can feel drier. Energy may become unpredictable. Sleep, once deep and refreshing, becomes lighter or interrupted. These are not random changes. They are signs that internal chemistry is being nudged out of its ideal range. Emotionally, the shift can be just as quiet. Magnesium supports calmness and mental stability. When it drops, irritability, low mood, or unexplained anxiety can creep in. Vitamin D imbalance can affect motivation and mental clarity. Suddenly, focus becomes harder, and emotional resilience feels thinner. People often blame stress or age, never realizing their supplement routine may be influencing their mental state. What makes these signs dangerous is not their severity, but their subtlety. They don't feel urgent. They don't demand medical attention. They slowly normalize until imbalance becomes your new baseline. And by the time lab tests reveal abnormalities, the body has already been compensating for months or even years. These warning signals are not meant to create fear. They are invitations to pause and reassess. They remind us that supplements are not permanent fixes, but adjustable tools. Ignoring these messages doesn't mean the body stops speaking. It only means the body will eventually speak louder. And this is where responsibility becomes power. Beck. Oz, recognizing early signals is only the first step. The real protection lies in knowing how to adjust doses, timing, combinations, and even when to step back completely. Without that knowledge, awareness remains incomplete. And once you understand the signs, the next question becomes unavoidable. How do you use these nutrients wisely so they continue healing instead of slowly demanding correction? Using this trio wisely is not about strict rules, it is about intelligent adjustment. The safest approach always begins with knowing what your body already has, not guessing what it lacks. Blood tests for vitamin D and basic mineral panels give clarity that no supplement label can replace. When you supplement blindly, you are working in the dark, but when you supplement with awareness, every dose becomes precise instead of risky. Lower, consistent doses often work better than aggressive amounts, especially for long-term use. The body prefers gentle guidance over force. Vitamin D3 should match your actual deficiency, not a trend on social media. K2 should be present to direct calcium, but not in isolation or excess. Magnesium should be sufficient to support nerve, muscle, and heart balance, but chosen in a form that suits digestion and tolerance. Cycling is another forgotten strategy. Supplements do not always need to be taken endlessly without breaks. Short pauses allow the body to reestablish its own rhythm and prevent dependency. Think of supplements as support during imbalance. Not permanent replacements for natural regulation. Sunlight, whole foods, and movement should remain the foundation, with supplements acting only as reinforcement. When food quality improves and lifestyle stabilizes, supplement needs often drop naturally. Timing also matters more than people realize. Taking magnesium at night can support relaxation and sleep, while D3 earlier in the day aligns better with natural hormonal rhythms. Combining supplements with meals improves absorption and reduces digestive stress. These small adjustments protect the system from overload while enhancing benefits. Food must always be part of the equation. Leafy greens, seeds, nuts, dairy, fish, and fermented foods provide minerals in a form the body recognizes and regulates naturally. When supplements replace food instead of complementing it, imbalance becomes more likely. Your plate should do most of the work. Pills should only fine-tune what food and lifestyle cannot fully provide. Another key element is listening. If energy shifts, sleep changes, heart rhythm feels different, or digestion becomes uncomfortable, those signals deserve respect. Reducing doses, spacing supplements, or temporarily stopping can often restore balance before damage begins. Supplements should make the body feel more stable, not more complicated. But even the smartest strategy must recognize one truth. Not every body responds the same way. Age, gender, kidney function, heart health, medications, and existing conditions completely change how this trio behaves inside you. What is safe and helpful for one person may be too much or even harmful for another. This is where the final layer of responsibility appears, because once you understand dosing, timing, food support, and personal signals, a deeper question quietly emerges: who should truly use this combination with confidence, and who needs extra caution before even considering it? Not every body carries the same needs, and that is where the greatest misunderstanding about supplements begins. For some people, this trio can feel like a blessing, while for others, it requires a slower, more cautious approach. Older adults often benefit because bone density naturally declines with age, and vitamin D levels drop as skin becomes less efficient at producing it from sunlight. When supported properly, this combination can help preserve strength, stability, and independence. But aging kidneys are also more sensitive, and mineral overload becomes easier, which means doses must be gentler and monitored more carefully. What supports longevity can also accelerate strain if not respected. Athletes and physically active individuals often respond positively because magnesium supports muscle recovery, D3 aids performance and immunity, and K2 protects the cardiovascular system under higher physical stress. Yet their higher demands do not give them immunity to imbalance. Pushing doses too high in the name of optimization can quietly disrupt heart rhythm, hydration balance, and nerve stability. More activity does not always mean more supplementation is needed. Sometimes it means smarter nutrition and better timing. Women, especially during pregnancy, menopause, or hormonal shifts, experience changes in calcium metabolism and vitamin D sensitivity. This trio can protect bone health and emotional stability, but hormonal fluctuations also make mineral balance more delicate. A dose that feels supportive one month may feel overwhelming the next. Listening becomes more important than routine. People with kidney conditions, heart disease, high blood pressure, or those taking medications like diuretics, blood thinners, or calcium channel blockers must be especially cautious. For them, mineral shifts happen faster, and consequences appear more strongly. What is supportive for the average person can become harmful under medical complexity. Supplements stop being wellness tools and start acting like medical interventions. That is a line that should never be crossed casually. Even perfectly healthy individuals are not immune to risk. Long-term daily use without reassessment can slowly reshape internal balance. The body evolves. Needs change. Seasons change. Stress levels change. Diet changes. But most people never change their supplement routine. That is where quiet danger hides. Not in the nutrients themselves, but in the assumption that yesterday's dose is always right for today. Children and teenagers, you surely need food, sunlight, and movement far more than supplements. Introducing heavy supplementation too early can interfere with the body's natural regulatory learning process. Growth depends on internal balance, not external control. The truth is simple but powerful. This trio is safest and most effective when used as a temporary guide, not a permanent authority. It should support your biology, not replace it. The moment supplements become automatic, unquestioned, and endless, they stop being helpers and start becoming silent influencers of your internal chemistry. And that realization changes everything. Because once you understand that long-term use is not just about what you take, but how consciously you take it, the responsibility shifts into your hands. The final decision is no longer about fear or hype. It becomes about wisdom, timing, and respect for your body's signals, which leads to one last truth that cannot be ignored. The real power of this trio is not in the capsules themselves, but in the awareness you carry while using them. And that is exactly where the payoff of this entire journey truly begins. Long-term health is not about how many supplements you take. It's about how intelligently you work with your body. D3, K2, and magnesium are not villains. In fact, when used correctly, they are one of the most powerful nutritional combinations modern science has validated. They strengthen bones, protect arteries, calm nerves, sharpen immunity, and support energy. The deepest cellular level, but here's the real payoff. Their true power only appears when respect replaces blind routine. Supplements are not meant to override nature, they are meant to assist it. When you take D3 without checking your real vitamin D levels, when you ignore magnesium balance, when K2 becomes an afterthought, you shift from health support into biological interference. And that's where silent damage begins. The safest long-term strategy is awareness. Test before you guess. Adjust doses, don't copy them. Cycle supplements when possible. And most importantly, let food remain your foundation. Sunlight, leafy greens, seeds, nuts, dairy, fish, and whole foods should always be your first medicine. Supplements are tools, not replacements for lifestyle. If used with knowledge, this trio can become your shield against osteoporosis, heart disease, inflammation, and premature aging. But if used carelessly, it can slowly push your body out of balance while you think you're protecting it. Your health journey is not about extremes. It's about precision. It's about listening to your body instead of following trends. So today, you don't walk away with fear. You walk away with control. Control over your supplements. Control over your long-term health, and control over the future strength of your body, because real wellness isn't loud. It's intelligent.